They gave me 6 months. That was 16 years ago. I'm Maggie Thompson, and I'm not supposed to be here right now. According to the statistics, according to the doctor's initial prognosis, according to everything we knew back in 2009, I should be gone. But I'm sitting here in my living room with my granddaughter's art project on my refrigerator, planning my 70th birthday party and tending to a garden that I planted after I was supposed to die. This isn't a story about beating cancer. Well, it is, but it's really a story about that moment when life gives you an ending and you decide to write a different one. It's about the day I stopped being afraid of dying and started being terrified of not really living. I was 52 years old when a routine doctor's appointment turned into a nightmare. But here's the thing, nobody tells you. Sometimes the nightmare is just the middle chapter, not the ending. This is my story. Let me take you back to who I was before everything changed. I was a 3rd grade teacher at Riverside Elementary in Columbus, Ohio. I'd been teaching for 28 years. My classroom was the one with the reading corner shaped like a castle and the ceiling covered in paper stars. Every year, I watched 8-year-olds learn to read chapter books, and every year it felt like magic. My husband Tom and I had been married for 30 years. We had 2 kids, David and Sarah, both grown and living their own lives. David was an accountant in Cleveland. Sarah had just had our 2nd grandchild, a little girl named Emma. Life was good, normal, predictable in the best way possible. I was the type of person who meal planned on Sundays, who never missed a parent-teacher conference, who remembered everyone's birthday. I recycled, I voted. I called my mother every Wednesday evening. I thought I knew how my life would go. I'd teach until 65, retire, travel with Tom, spoil my grandchildren, maybe take up watercolor painting. I had it all mapped out. That's the funny thing about life. It doesn't care about your plans. It started so small, so easy to ignore. I was tired, but I was always tired. I was a teacher. Tired came with the territory. You try managing 23 3rd graders right before lunchtime and see how energetic you feel. My stomach hurt sometimes. I felt bloated. I'd gained a little weight around my middle, but I was 52. That happens, right? Metabolism slows down. I wasn't 25 anymore. I mentioned it to Tom once or twice. He said maybe I should eat more fiber, drink more water. The usual things. I almost didn't go to the doctor. I had a classroom to run, report cards to finish, a field trip to chaperone. Who has time to sit in a waiting room for an hour over a little bloating? But my annual checkup was scheduled, and I'm someone who keeps appointments. So I went. Dr. Hassan had been my physician for 12 years, a kind woman with 3 kids of her own. She knew I was a teacher. She always asked about my students. The exam was normal, blood pressure good, heart rate fine. Then she pressed on my abdomen and her expression changed, just slightly, but I saw it. She felt something. She ordered an ultrasound just to be safe. Probably nothing, she said, but let's take a look. Probably nothing. Those 2 words would haunt me. The ultrasound was scheduled for the following week. I remember sitting in that dim room, the cold gel on my stomach, watching the technician's face as she moved the wand across my belly. She went quiet. Too quiet. She called in another technician. They whispered in the corner. Medical professionals never whisper good news. She told me the doctor would call with the results. I should have known right then. I drove home in a daze. Tom was in the garage working on his workbench. I didn't tell him yet. I didn't know what to tell him. I made dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. We watched Jeopardy. I answered 3 questions correctly. Life went on like normal. But I couldn't sleep that night. I lay there in the dark, Tom snoring softly beside me, and I knew, deep in my gut, I knew something was very wrong. Dr. Hassan called 2 days later. Could I come in? She wanted to discuss the results in person. Bring someone with you, she said. Bring someone with you. That's when fear really set in. Tom came with me. We sat in those awful waiting room chairs, the kind that squeak when you shift your weight. Tom held my hand. His palm was sweaty. Mine was ice cold. Dr. Hassan brought us into her office, not an exam room. An office with a desk and diplomas on the wall and a box of tissues conspicuously placed within reach. She didn't waste time. I appreciated that. She showed us the ultrasound images. There were masses on my ovaries, multiple ones. They needed to do more tests, but it looked like ovarian cancer. We'd need a CT scan, blood work, probably surgery to confirm and stage it. I heard the words, but they didn't make sense. Cancer? I didn't smoke. I exercised, I ate my vegetables. Cancer was for other people, old people, sick people, not me, not me. Tom asked questions, good questions, smart questions. I just sat there staring at those ultrasound pictures, those dark shadows that were apparently trying to kill me. I was 52 years old. My youngest grandchild was 3 months old. I had 20 students who were learning about the solar system. I had book club on Thursday nights. I had a life. This couldn't be happening. But it was. The next 3 weeks were a blur of appointments and tests, CT scans, MRIs, blood work, so much blood work, tumor markers, CA125 levels. Words I'd never heard before became my daily vocabulary. I had to tell people. That was the worst part, telling my kids. Sarah cried so hard she couldn't breathe. David went silent, completely silent, and then punched the wall in our hallway. We still haven't fixed that dent. I had to tell my students I'd be taking a leave of absence. I told them I was sick and needed to get better. One little girl, Bella, asked if I was going to die. I wanted to say no, of course not, but I couldn't lie to her. I said I was going to fight really hard to stay healthy. She gave me a drawing of a superhero. She said it was me with super strength. I still have that drawing. It's framed in my bedroom. I had to tell my parents. My mother, who was 76 and had just lost her sister to lung cancer the year before. I watched her face crumble. I was supposed to take care of her, not the other way around. And I had to tell myself, I had to look in the mirror every morning and accept that this was real. That was harder than any of it. Surgery was scheduled to remove the masses and assess the extent of the cancer. I went in on a Tuesday morning in October. The trees outside the hospital were brilliant orange and red. I remember thinking how beautiful they were, how I might never see fall again. The surgery took 5 hours. When I woke up, Tom was there and his eyes were red from crying. That told me everything. Stage 3 ovarian cancer. It had spread beyond my ovaries to my lymph nodes and abdominal lining. Aggressive, advanced. They'd removed what they could, but chemotherapy would be necessary. Lots of it. The oncologist, Dr. Patel, came in the next day. He was young, maybe 40, with kind eyes and a gentle voice. He laid out the treatment plan, 6 months of chemotherapy, maybe more if needed. Aggressive treatment for aggressive cancer. He told me the survival statistics. 5-year survival rate for stage 3 ovarian cancer was about 45%. Less than half. Less than a coin flip. I asked him to be straight with me. What were my real chances? He paused. He said if we were aggressive with treatment, if my body responded well, I had a fighting chance. But I needed to prepare for a difficult battle. This wouldn't be easy. Then he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Statistics are about populations, not people. You're not a statistic, Maggie. You're a person, and people can surprise us." I held on to that. I had to. My first chemotherapy session was on a Thursday in November, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. The cancer center was nicer than I expected. Comfortable recliners, warm blankets, volunteers offering snacks and magazines. They tried to make it comfortable, but there's no comfortable way to pump poison into your veins. Tom sat with me. 6 hours. The IV drip, slow and steady. I watched that bag empty, watched the chemicals flow through the tube into my arm, and I thought about what they were doing inside me, killing the bad cells, but killing good ones too. I felt okay that first day, a little tired, a little nauseous. They gave me anti-nausea medication, sent me home with prescriptions and instructions. The next day I understood what I was in for. The nausea hit like a truck. I couldn't keep anything down. Not water, not crackers, nothing. I lived in my bathroom for 3 days. Tom would sit outside the door, asking if I needed anything. What I needed was to not be dying. My hair started falling out 2 weeks later. Everyone warned me. I thought I was prepared. I wasn't. I was in the shower and it just came out in clumps, handfuls of my hair swirling down the drain. I stood there wet and naked and bald, and I sobbed. I sobbed for an hour. Tom found me sitting on the bathroom floor, wrapped in a towel surrounded by hair. He didn't say anything. He just sat down next to me and held me. We sat there together until the water ran cold. I shaved the rest off the next day. If it was going to go, it was going on my terms. Chemotherapy is 6 months of dying slowly so you can live. That's the best way I can describe it. Every 3 weeks, another treatment. Every time, my body got weaker. I lost 30 pounds. My skin turned grey. I had sores in my mouth. My nails turned black and started to peel off. I couldn't taste anything. Food was like cardboard. I missed an entire school year. I missed Halloween with my grandkids. I missed Thanksgiving dinner because I was too sick to sit at the table. I missed Christmas morning. I watched it from the couch, too exhausted to even open presents. I missed my life. There were days I wanted to quit, days I wanted to tell them to stop, that I'd rather have 3 good months than 6 more months of this hell. I remember one night in January, I was so sick, so tired. I looked at Tom and I said, "I can't do this anymore. I'm done." He said, "I know you're tired, but tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to keep fighting because our granddaughter Emma is learning to walk and you need to be there to see it, because your students are waiting for you, because I'm not ready to say goodbye to you, because you're not done yet." I cried, and then I went to sleep, and the next morning I woke up and I kept going. That's all you can do. Keep going. Month 4 was the worst. My blood counts were so low they had to delay treatment. I was hospitalized with an infection. My immune system was basically non-existent. I was in that hospital bed, hooked up to IVS, and I had a moment of absolute clarity. I realized I'd been surviving, just surviving, getting through each day, enduring, waiting for it to be over. But I wasn't living. I wasn't present. I was so focused on not dying that I forgot about living. My granddaughter Emma came to visit. She was 9 months old. She crawled up onto my hospital bed and she smiled at me. This huge gummy smile. And she laughed. And I realized, this moment right here, this is life. This little girl laughing, this matters. This is what I'm fighting for, not to go back to my old life. That life was gone, but to be here for the new moments, the new life that was happening right now. Something shifted in me that day. I stopped fighting against cancer. I started fighting for life. It sounds like the same thing, but it's not. Fighting against something makes you a victim. Fighting for something makes you a warrior. I decided to be a warrior. The last 2 months of chemotherapy was still brutal. Don't get me wrong, but I approached them differently. Instead of dreading each treatment, I celebrated each one. I was one step closer to being done. One step closer to ringing that bell they have in the cancer center, the one you ring when you complete treatment. I made a list of things I wanted to do when I was better. Not big things, small things. I wanted to feel grass under my bare feet. I wanted to eat a real tomato from a garden. I wanted to swim in a lake. I wanted to read a book in one sitting. I wanted to plant flowers. That one was big for me. I wanted to plant something and watch it grow, something beautiful, something alive. Tom and I started planning a garden. During my worst days, we'd sit with seed catalogs and plan what we'd plant. Roses, lavender, daisies, hydrangeas. We drew maps. We talked about colors and heights and bloom times. That garden became my symbol of after cancer, after treatment, after surviving. I was going to see that garden bloom. My last chemotherapy treatment was on May 12, 2010. The nurses decorated my chair with balloons. My whole family came. Tom, David, Sarah, and my 3 grandchildren. Even some of my fellow teachers showed up. When that final IV bag was empty, I stood up. My legs were shaky. I'd lost so much strength, but I stood up and I walked to that bell. It's a brass bell mounted on the wall. Underneath it says, "Ring this bell 3 times well." It's toll to clearly say, my treatment's done, this course is run, and I am on my way. I rang that bell 3 times, loud as I could. Everyone cheered. I cried. Happy tears, exhausted tears, grateful tears. I was done. I'd made it through. But here's what they don't tell you. Finishing treatment isn't the end. It's just a different kind of beginning. The months after chemotherapy were strange. My body started to recover slowly. My hair grew back different than before, curlier and more grey. My energy returned in small increments. I could walk to the mailbox, then around the block, then a whole mile. But the fear didn't go away. Every ache, every pain, every weird sensation made me think it was back. The cancer, growing again, waiting to kill me. I had scans every 3 months. Every time I couldn't sleep for a week beforehand. The scanxiety, they call it. Waiting for results. Waiting to hear if I was still in remission or if the nightmare was starting over. 3 months clear, 6 months clear, 9 months clear. Each milestone was a victory. But also a reminder that I might not make the next one. I went to a cancer support group. It helped. Talking to other people who understood, who knew what it was like to live in limbo between survivor and patient. One woman, Janet, said something that stuck with me. She said, "We didn't beat cancer. We're living beside it. It's always there, the possibility of it. We just have to choose not to let it steal today while we worry about tomorrow." That became my mantra. Don't let cancer steal today. A year after my last treatment, I went back to teaching. Part-time at first, just mornings. Walking back into my classroom was surreal. My replacement teacher had kept everything the same. The reading castle, the paper stars, my desk with the photos of my grandchildren. But I was different. I couldn't teach the same way. I didn't have the energy for the chaos, the noise, the constant motion. I had to adapt. I had to accept that I wasn't the same person who left. My students didn't care. They just wanted Mrs. Thompson back. They'd made me a banner. "Welcome back, Mrs. Thompson. We missed you," with handprints in every color. That first day back, I read them a story about a caterpillar that went into a cocoon and came out as a butterfly. I told them that sometimes people go through hard things and they come out different. But different can be beautiful too. One little boy, Marcus, raised his hand and asked if I was a butterfly now. I said, yes. Yes, I am. That spring, Tom and I planted our garden. My strength was still limited, so we worked slowly, an hour at a time, preparing the soil, planning the layout. We planted roses first, pink ones, then lavender, which smells like heaven, daisies, cheerful and bright, hydrangeas, big and lush. We planted a whole section of wildflowers, just seeds scattered and left to grow however they wanted. I worked in that garden every day that summer, getting my hands dirty, feeling the sun on my face, watching things grow. There's something profound about planting a seed when you weren't sure you'd live to see it bloom. Every flower that opened felt like a miracle, like proof that I was still here, that life goes on, that beauty still exists. That garden became my therapy, my meditation, my proof of life. 16 years later, it's still there, still growing, still blooming, just like me. 16 years, that's how long it's been since my diagnosis. I'm 68 years old now. I've been cancer-free for 16 years. I'm officially considered cured, though any cancer survivor will tell you, you never really stop waiting for it to come back. But I've learned to live with the uncertainty. We all live with uncertainty, really. Cancer just makes it more obvious. I retired from teaching 3 years ago, not because of cancer, just because it was time. I'd given 40 years to the classroom. It was time to give my time to other things. I spend my days in my garden. I volunteer at the library. I babysit my grandchildren, who are all teenagers now, which is terrifying in a different way. I take pottery classes. I travel with Tom. We went to Italy last year. We're planning a trip to New Zealand next spring. I'm living the life I planned before cancer, just 15 years later than I expected. People ask me if cancer changed me. Of course it did. You don't go through something like that and stay the same. But here's the thing. It didn't break me. It didn't make me bitter or angry or afraid of life. It made me grateful. It made me present. It made me realize that every single day is a gift. Cancer taught me that life is short. We say that all the time, but we don't really believe it until we face it. Life is short. It's precious. It's fragile, and we waste so much of it, worrying about things that don't matter, arguing about nonsense, holding grudges, waiting for the perfect time to do things. There is no perfect time. There's only now. Cancer taught me that I'm stronger than I ever knew. I survived something I didn't think I could survive. I did things I didn't think I could do. I kept going when every part of me wanted to quit. And if I could do that, I can do anything. Cancer taught me that asking for help isn't weakness, it's survival. I couldn't have made it through without Tom, without my kids, without my friends, without my doctors, without people I barely knew who brought meals and drove me to appointments and sat with me when I was scared. We aren't meant to do life alone, especially the hard parts. Cancer taught me that control is an illusion. I couldn't control the cancer. I couldn't control the treatment. I couldn't control the outcome. All I could control was how I responded. My attitude, my choices, my perspective, that's all any of us can control, how we respond. And cancer taught me that life isn't about avoiding death. It's about embracing life, really living, being present, finding joy, creating beauty, loving people, making memories. Because here's the truth, we're all terminal. Every single one of us. Cancer patients just have a clearer timeline, but none of us know when our time will come. A diagnosis can change in an instant. Life can change in an instant. So we have to live now, not someday, not when things are perfect, not when we're ready, now. If you're going through something hard right now, something that feels impossible, something that feels like it's going to break you, I want you to know something. You are stronger than you think you are. You have reserves of strength you don't even know about yet. You will surprise yourself. It's okay to be scared. I was terrified every single day. But fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. And it's okay to struggle, to have bad days, to want to give up. I had those days, many of them. The key is to wake up the next day and keep going anyway. One day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one breath at a time, if that's all you can manage. And find something to fight for, not against. Find your garden, your reason, your purpose, the thing that makes you want to see tomorrow. For me, it was my family, my grandchildren, my garden, the simple moments. A cup of coffee in the morning, the smell of roses, the feeling of sunshine on my face. Those small things aren't small at all. They're everything. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am. I'm here in my garden watching my flowers bloom. I'm here at my granddaughter's high school graduation. I'm here making Sunday dinner for my family. I'm here taking pottery classes and learning to make lopsided bowls. I'm here living a life I had to fight for. A life that's different than I planned, but a life that's mine. Cancer tried to end my story at chapter 35, but I'm on chapter 51 now, and I'm still writing. Because here's the final lesson, the most important one. You are not your diagnosis. You are not your circumstances. You are not what happens to you. You are how you respond. You are what you choose to do with the time you have. You are the life you create from the ashes. And you are never, ever finished until you decide you are. I decided I wasn't finished. 16 years ago, when they gave me months, I decided to take years instead. And I'm still here, still growing, still blooming, just like my garden. My name is Maggie Thompson. I'm 68 years old. I'm a retired teacher, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a gardener, and a cancer survivor. But more than all of that, I'm alive. And every single day, I'm grateful for it. If my story helps even one person keep fighting, keep hoping, keep living, then every hard moment was worth it. Don't let anything steal your today. Not fear, not circumstances, not what the statistics say. Your story isn't over. Keep writing it. Thank you for listening.